Hey. So in this vlog, I'm going to be doing some mood reading. I have a bunch of books that I want to read, and I don't know. We'll see how things go. I am currently reading On Sunday She Picked Flowers. I am about halfway through this. I am absolutely loving this. I am kind of obsessed. It is way different than I thought it was going to be in a good way. We have a woman who is older. She's 41, and I didn't realize that before getting into this book that she was pretty much my age. And I figured, abused child by her mother would have been, early 20s, late teens, teenager age, but no, she's 41, and she very early on in this book escapes the situation. The beginning of it is pretty rough because you do hear about her abuses and things that have happened to her, but then she does escape the situation. That's in the synopsis, and she is in this cabin in the woods, and the woods call to her, and she becomes this woman of the woods, and she takes care of herself, and she hunts, and she gathers, and she cooks, and she does all the things that she needs to do to sustain her own life. But this house is also known to be haunted, and also she's dealing with a lot of PTSD from her childhood, trying to deal with that emotionally and physically. And you just follow her along this journey that she is on. And there's also some really interesting small interludes in here where you're getting perspectives from other things that I'm really enjoying. There's a sapphic something that happens in here that was actually kind of spicy, and it's heavy, but it also has some lightness to it and some cozy cottagecore kind of feelings to it, which is really weird to say. A little bit of monster romance, maybe. I don't know. Like I said, I'm halfway through, but I am really enjoying this so far. And this is the first book I'm going to be reading for this vlog. I should have maybe updated you sooner, but I was loving it so much, I just didn't want to stop. So I'm going to continue with this. I'm going to kind of mood read in this vlog and see how things go. I am randomly reading a bunch of other things as well. As usual, I am about halfway through Eliza Clark's short story collection, She's Always Hungry. Having mixed feelings about this. Some of the stories have been 2 stars and some have been 4 stars. Haven't really had any 5 stars of the stories I've read so far, and others, are just kind of average. So I'm enjoying it. I'm just reading a little bit each day. So I have been reading that. And then also I am randomly reading Wild Blood. This is an indie romantasy book that I just grabbed on Book Sirens, and I wanted to see if this would be for me. I really liked the cover, and I'm actually enjoying this so far. This is about a woman who's in a bad marriage. Kind of a theme for books I've been picking up lately for some reason. And she has some magic in her, and they say she's sick. She has this wild blood in her. It can't be tamed, and her husband's a bad person, is very abusive to her in the ways that he tries to control her, and she escapes that situation. She goes to this academy to try and train and control her magic, and it's Wayfinder magic. It's pretty cool. There's lines and portals that can't be seen that they travel along, and there's spirit beasts in here. There's a relationship that's just starting up. I'm about 44% into this one. So yeah, those are the books I am reading at the moment. We'll see if I pick up anything else in this vlog, but at the moment I've got these 3 going. I'm also listening to Keeping 13 because like I said, it grew on me like mold, and I just can't stop, but I can't stop because it's taken me forever. It's just something I'm kind of listening to a little piecemeal. It doesn't need a whole lot of concentration or introspection, and that's going okay. The characters are interesting. I still really like what's his face, the friend who has no filter and says a lot of inappropriate things. Reminds me of myself a little bit and my family. We just always are saying a few or many inappropriate things. That's kind of fun. Not the book itself, but him. He's fun. The book still dealing with a lot of serious themes in there. I guess I'm just reading a lot of real uppers lately. I don't know, but there's spicy scenes a little bit. Keeping 13, and that is a little weird because they're high schoolers, and I have no problem with that, but for me it's just a little weird now reading from it because my kid's in high school. So I remember being in high school. I can appreciate it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just weird for me to read these days. But anyways, I am going to continue reading On Sunday She Picked Flowers because I'm really enjoying this, and we'll see what else happens. My reading buddies.
Jeffrey temperatures.
Working on editing a January wrap-up, but I just wanted to come on and say that something happened on Sunday. She picked flowers and it made me so sad. Oh my goodness, it's sad. You know, I was really happy for, I mean, I was suspicious, highly suspicious, and you know, it's a horror book, so I know it's not gonna be flowers and rainbows and puppy dogs and all that, but I was like a little happy for our girl. And at this point in the book, she's actually even older. I think she's in her 50s now, possibly. She's been living in the woods a long time. I don't know. I'm still really liking it. I'm curious to see where it goes from here. But right now, I'm sad. So I read a little bit more of this last night. I am on page 154, so I'm over halfway through now. I'm still really, really liking this. There was a reveal that I wasn't expecting. I mean, it's a horror book, so I guess I'm always expecting that possibility. I wasn't expecting the twist we got in here. I'd be interested to see if we got any hints of that through the first half of the book. For some reason, my brain didn't think that there was going to be in this, but it makes sense. I am still really liking this. It is very different than I thought it would be, but also really good and atmospheric, and it's doing everything I wanted it to do. For some reason, I'm not like obsessed with it. I thought this would be a 5-star. It still may be a 5-star. We have to see what the end is. I am really, really liking that. I have underlined so much, and of course, like the pages, like I've underlined so much in this book, so it could still be a 5-star, but I'm just not obsessed to get back to it constantly. And I think it might just be one of those kind of books that the slower read just feels better. I'm not rushing to get through it. It's fairly slow pace. There's not like a lot of plot going on constantly. I'm still just really, really enjoying it. We're seeing Jude battling with her past and the way she grew up, and we're seeing themes of cyclical nature of abuse. If this is something that you grew up suffering with, that it's a battle to not repeat that cycle of abuse with your own loved ones. And, you know, Jude, she ran away and she got out of that situation, but it's not like she went to therapy and dealt with her trauma. So she's still very much suffering from PTSD and the guilt that she feels for leaving. We have this relationship that in here now that started, and her trying to deal with conflict that comes up in that relationship in a way that is healthy. And this is a horror book, so not the ways that she's dealing with them is obviously not always healthy. There's a lot going on in this book. There's horrifying aspects to it for sure, but I would definitely call it more of a literary fiction than a straight up horror. There's haunts / ghosts in here, hauntings, and there's creatures, and you're in a very foggy, creepy woods, but it's definitely more of a lit fic book. And I mean, I love that because I don't know if I've said this already, but it's reminding me of Tradwife, which just comes out this month, that I read an arc of, in a way, in that there is a creature that the main character becomes involved with from the forest. And the main character is a homesteading tradwife. And obviously in this, we don't have a wife. We have just a woman who ends up in a sapphic relationship. She's also homesteading, and she's living out in the woods, and she's providing for herself and doing all the cooking and the cleaning and all that. But yeah, in the way that there's creatures in both of them, and women living in the woods, having interactions with them. And in other ways, they're similar too. There's obviously no pregnancy in this. There are other parallels as well, and I think it's interesting that is not something that I was expecting to have a comp for with this. Obviously still very different, but there are some things in here that I think are funny that parallel quite nicely with that book. That's one I really, really liked too. I gave that one, I think 4.5, like 4+ stars. Yeah, I'm really loving these women that live in the woods, nature. Also, a little life update. I haven't been running super a lot because it's been freezing cold out, as it has been in many places in the States on the East Coast. I ran twice in January post-race. I kind of like forced myself to just get out there, shake it out, you know, and see how things were feeling. That things were feeling okay. Did the big races and didn't hurt myself, so that was good. And then it turned Arctic and we had lots of extreme cold warnings, etc. And I'm a pretty hardy runner. I will run in almost any weather. I will run when it's super hot. I'll run when it's super cold. I will do whatever I can to get outside to avoid the treadmill, even when I had a treadmill. I don't have a treadmill now. My parents used to have one, and they abandoned me to North Carolina, so I don't have it anymore. And there's no room in this house for one unless I want to put it in the basement, and if I put it in the basement, I don't think I would use it. So anywho, you don't care. I have been out twice this week in the 20-ish degree, 20 to 28 degree weather outside, and I'm okay with that. I can do 20s, I can do 30s, no problem. When it gets super windy and the feels like is in the single digits, I don't want to be out there. I will do it. It's been so long and I just need to get out there. I will put on my normal winter running gear and then like throw a hoodie over that and sweatpants over my leggings. I have fleece lined leggings. I have fleece, I put a base layer on, then I have a fleece on top of that. I actually did a video once of me gearing up to go run outside in like 8-degree weather. It is possible. I won't do a long run in it because once you start sweating, all bets are off unless you like run back to the car and change. You know, once you start sweating, you can't warm up again. And then it becomes dangerous. So I will go out in cold weather. Right now I'm not training for anything, but I do want to try to get 4 runs in a week. I've got 2 in this week. I'm going to try to do, so today I'll rest and then I'll do a run Thursday, Friday. I did 5 miles one day. I did 3 miles yesterday. I'm going to do probably at least 3 miles Thursday and Friday. And then I've also been adding more resistance strength training in, which I am really bad at doing. I'm not really a big fan. I used to do CrossFit and I loved it. I loved the barbells. It's not something that I'm interested in doing anymore. Just don't want to be with people. Do it at 5 a.m. I wish I could have just like, I don't know. I just didn't want to socialize, but it was still really, it was a good way to get back into shape, I will say, after having kids, and learned a lot. I gained a lot of strength. The pandemic happened and then I stopped going, and I don't really have an interest in getting back into it to that extent, but I do need to add some strength back in for sure as I'm getting older, and it's important. Anyway, that's a lot of rambling. I am going to read now for a while. This one's trying to give me kisses. It's a boy. It's a boy. Snab에서 퍼댄다. Well, this is heartbreaking. I didn't expect to get so emotional, but there is a chapter in this where it broke my heart a little bit. And then I'm in part 3 now, and we are getting a different perspective a little bit. And there's some quotes in here that also just break my heart. It says, to hell with it. To hope was to die, and dying was the only reward after a life so mean. Who did she think she was, anyways, trying to live like she deserved lacy curtains in the windows? Lacy curtains in the windows, not a mansion or, you know, high fashion or filet mignon, but just lacy curtains in the windows. It's so sad. This is a heartbreaking book. And there were moments of hope too, you know, tiny moments of hope in this book. And to hell with it. To hope was to die, and dying was the only reward for a life so mean. Oh, that doesn't bode well for the rest of this. I will say something about the Binding 13, Keeping 13 books. You know, they deal with serious topics, but they have made me laugh out loud multiple times. I mean, if a book can do that, you can't really argue too much. And Gibbsy and Shan just walked in on his parents. Compromising position, and it just cracked me up. So, yeah, I'm having a good time with it. It's still too long, and it is ridiculous, but at the same time, it's just fun with serious topics. So, I'm not hating it. On Sundays we picked flowers when I was soaking in the tub. Well, videos all the time, but anyways, I finished On Sundays we picked flowers. I'm gonna give it a 4.5. On a different day, maybe I would give it a 5. I think 5 stars generally are day dependent. One Alicia might give something 5 stars, while if I read it again on a different day, maybe it wouldn't be. But this is close. 95 is still an A, right? So for me, on this day, this is a 4.5. I'm still gonna boost it up on Goodreads. So I don't know if I have too much more to say that I haven't said already. There's a lot of generational trauma, cyclical nature of abuse in here, mommy issues, familial issues, looking at your parent who has experienced a lot of the abuses that you have, and even worse, as a person that you don't love and can't love, but maybe having empathy for the person that they were, the child that they were, and finding love and grace in your heart for that, but still knowing that as the person that they were when they were raising you is not someone that you can love. I thought this was very, very good. I need to go do a bunch of errands before my son gets out of school. I think he wants me to pick him up today to go rock climbing, so I might do that. I need to go to the library. I need to go to maybe the bookstore, but probably, I definitely don't need to go there, but I might go anyway. I have a gift certificate. And I need to pick up my Zoloft, and I might hit up the consignment store that's right next to it because I haven't yet, and they have like a lot of like kitschy stuff. So I might look in there just for funsies. All right, so a bit of a library haul. I still have What Kind of Paradise. I meant to return this and I forgot, so I still need to return that, but it's not due till I think the 11th. I grabbed my hold for, what is it, Candelaria. For some reason I wanted to call it Candelabra, but Candelaria. Like everyone else, I saw that Kayla read this and she said it was for the weird girls, and we all know I'm a weird girl, so I grabbed it. I put it on hold and then grabbed it. And I mean, look at this panda in the back. I didn't notice that. Ooh. Had Exit Interview. This is a nonfiction on hold about a woman who used to work for Amazon. So we'll see if I find interest in reading that. We'll see. I don't know. Nonfiction's tough for me, but I want to try. Finally picked up my hold for Automatic Noodle. I had this on hold since Goodreads awards time, and it finally came in. So I have that. And then I did end up going to the bookstore and grabbing How to Kill a Guy in 10 Days because I want to read this for Literally Dead Book Club, but I don't think this is going to be here in time from the library or anything. So it's either this or audio, and at least this way I have the physical copy I can refer to. So I did not go to the consignment store because it's right next to my place to get my medication, and I didn't feel like dealing with that. I didn't want to get out of the car again. It was cold. So I was going to go through the drive-through, but it was too busy, so I skipped it, and we'll just get it tomorrow. I can get it tomorrow. I have plenty left. So I have been listening to Keeping 13 on the way to bring my son to the climbing gym. We try to come here every Wednesday for him to get some exercise and some climbing in, but it's about a half hour away, so it's kind of a pain. But yeah, I'm here at the climbing gym. I'm just going to sit in the car and read a bit of this, try to finish this up. I have 2 more stories left. I've been listening to Keeping 13 a little bit on and off throughout the day. I'm trying to finish that up, but I still have like 5 hours left because those books are never ending. Every time you think you've come to a climax and a resolution, it just seems to keep going and then going and going and going. It's like the Energizer Bunny, but you know, the guy that's funny is, his name is Gibbsy. I wanted to call him Gainsey. I'm like, that's something else. That's from the Raven Boys. It's definitely not from this book. But yeah, Gibbsy's hilarious. There's definitely some really heartbreaking scenes in this one. The scene with Joey, who's Shannon's brother, and Johnny's mom was truly heartbreaking, and I thought well done. I do think that there are things that this book does well, but there's a shit ton that could be cut out of it. There's a lot of repetitive things in here, the same thing being restated over and over again. So I do think that, you know, this book could have been chopped down a whole bunch. As I said, it did grow on me, and I'm happy to listen to it, but it's not one I can listen to like a big chunk of that one. I think it's done realistically. I have a teen boy in my house. He's a little bit younger than these guys, but he's still gross and crass, and it doesn't help that our family is a bit open and crass. So anyway, I'm gonna be at least a 3. It's fun. I'm still having fun with it. Like I said, I've really gotten to know these characters over the last 800 pages or no, oh my god, not even 800 pages, more like 1,000 pages in these 2 books. So I could see why people continue on with the series, because if you persist, which you don't have to persist through these books, if you do, you do really get to know them, and you kind of want to know what's going to happen. Right now, I'm going to work on She's Always Hungry, and then I'm on Sprints with Gabby's Patreon too. So yesterday ended up being a bit of a mess. I was taking my son to rock climbing, and my mother-in-law was supposed to pick up my daughter from her after-school youth services thing, and she called me literally right after I got to rock climbing and right after I talked to you guys, and told me that she went on a walk, lost her house keys on the walk, didn't have her car keys with her. They were in the house, but she couldn't get in the house because she locked herself out of the house. There was no one around to help her out. So I was about 30 minutes, well, I was about 40 minutes away from her, and I had to drive, get my daughter because there was no one to pick her up. Then I had to go home and get the key to my mother-in-law's house. Had to drive Arya to my mother-in-law's house, let everybody into the house. Arya stayed with her. Then I had to drive back 45 minutes to rock climbing because my mother-in-law's house is an additional 15 minutes away from rock climbing. Had to drive back to rock climbing to pick up my son and his friend because they were by now done. Then we drove to Dairy Queen, got the boys Dairy Queen. Then I had to drive his friend home, which is sort of kind of on the way, not too badly out of the way. I had to go back to my mother-in-law's house, pick up Arya, and then go home. And my mother-in-law's is about 15 minutes away from my house, so it's not super short. So yeah, I ended up picking up my son at 2:15 yesterday from school, and I was pretty much driving until I got home around 6:45, 7 o'clock. So that was fun. I'm glad I filled up my tank yesterday because I'm already down a quarter of a tank. Suffice it to say, I didn't get the reading done I wanted to get done, but I did finish Keeping 13. I'm going to give it a 3.5. It's still, like I said, nothing new to say other than I enjoy the characters. I laughed at times. I had my heartstrings pulled at times. It's still too long. It's still repetitive, but I still had a good time, and I would read the next one possibly. It's probably going to be one of those things where every once in a while I'll pick it up and just read a little bit and return to characters that I've read from before if I feel like it, but not something that I'm going to be chomping at the bit to read all the time. I am hoping to get out for a run today. It's cold, but it's going to be even colder this weekend, so I'm going to try to get out today and tomorrow and do a little. I am going to sit here and finish reading She's Always Hungry. I got, I think, within 15 pages or 10 pages of finishing this last night, but I was dozing and I could not stay awake for these last 10 pages for the life of me, if that tells you how this is going. Anyway, my prediction is that I'm going to end up giving this a 3. I have to look at my ratings for the different stories. Was a few I really liked. I would say there's like maybe 2 in here that I'd give a 4 so far, and there are several I would give a 3, and then there's some that I just didn't really like at all, which I'd give a 2. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be a 3-star read for me. My Build a Body Like Mine is the first one, and that's more like shock value one, but I've read something similar before. It's got Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke and The Troop items in it, which if you know what's in there, then you kind of know where that one went. I don't know. I'm rambling. I think this is going to be 3 stars. There's more sci-fi in here than I was expecting. It's fine. I just wasn't expecting it. So I finished She's Always Hungry by Eliza Clark. I'm definitely going to give this a 3. There's some duds in here. But anyways, the one I liked the most was the Extinction Event. And that one was about this woman who gets abducted and she is forced to work in this lab that is trying to find a way to help the planet so that we can heal Earth and live on it. And she is given these specimens to work with and try to figure out what's going on with them and see if they can help. And yeah, it goes from there. But I really liked that one. There are several stories in here I think that would be good for a book club and to discuss with other people. But as a whole, I would say my enjoyment was a 3. Now I'm going to read on my Kindle. I have Wild Blood on here, which is a very random romantasy from Book Sirens. I'm liking decently so far. I'm about halfway in, and I will tell you how that's going when I read a little bit more. And I showered, so I am ready to read now for a little bit. I kind of had a bit of a late run today. I don't know, not really that late, but I don't know. A longer run, and it took me a little longer to get out there than it usually does. And it's cold, so I took a hot bath afterward. And during my bath, I got, this is the cover of it. It's hard to see, but I got 56% into Wild Blood to see. And I'm actually still really liking this. I thought the beginning of it was a little rushed. We kind of rushed to get to where we were going a little bit, but I'm really liking this now. Relationship between the 2 characters is starting to evolve a little more. We're seeing some character development there. The backstory of this is that she's trying to get away from an abusive marriage, and she has this magic that he has been suppressing, her husband has been suppressing for years. And now she has escaped that situation and she's trying to control her magic, but because it was suppressed for so many years, and most people with this kind of magic, you know, they start training when they're young and it's like a trickle that's slowly growing. Hers is just like a raging river. They're not sure if she's going to be able to control it or not. And if she can't control it, then they're going to have to bind her, make it so she can't use her magic anymore. And she's finally coming into her independence and finding new friends and found family, and that's really great. And then we just came to another turn in the story. So I'm actually really enjoying this so far. It's a short-ish. I don't know exactly how many pages. I want to say it's under 400 pages, but I could be wrong. Romantasy, I think it's a standalone, but I'm not 100% certain. Like I said, it's an indie author, but I'm enjoying it. I am pleasantly surprised because you never quite know. Every once in a while, I like to give a book on Book Sirens a go and a chance to see if it's going to be something I like. And this one is one I'll definitely be finishing. So pleasantly surprised, and the cover's really cute. But I did get out for a run today. I ran 4.5 miles, and it's still cold out. It's in the low 30s, but it's going to be really cold this weekend, so I wanted to make sure I got out while it wasn't sub-Arctic temperatures. I like winter, but when it gets so cold that you can't really even be outside, that's no fun. And I also folded some laundry. It is the next day now. If you can tell, I cut my hair. I always cut my own hair. I was thinking about vlogging myself cutting my hair, but I think that might be just too difficult. Too many things at once. I finished Wild Blood by Jute Foster. As I said, this is a very indie romantasy, and I actually thought it was pretty good. Whenever you pick up something like that, you're never sure if it's going to be anything that you're going to want to read, but I ended up finishing it, and I ended up giving it a 3.5. I actually thought it was pretty good. One thing with it though is that it's a standalone, so you're getting a whole fantasy arc with world building and a villain and a relationship, all these things very quickly. It's under 400 pages, and I would have liked to see more development of that, but at the same time it is an indie and it is a shorter book, so I thought in the pages that we got that it was done pretty well. There's a kind of a battle scene towards the end, and I thought the relationship was convincing. It's very, very low spice. I would say like door cracked open spice. Not completely closed door, but barely anything. And so I finished it, and that'll be the last book for this video. So I think we had a pretty good run. I think we had some 4s and some 3s. Pretty good for a mood reading vlog. I will see you guys next time. And if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And I will see you next time.